Gather around the fire. This is the story of James Beckwourth, a man who, after escaping from St. Louis, according to his own account, rose to become chief of the Crow Nation. He was born in Virginia in 1798. His mother was an enslaved woman of African descent, while his father, according to one version of the story, was described as a Frenchman. Modern scholarship, however, generally identifies his father as James Beckwourth, an English-descended Virginia landowner, rather than a Frenchman. That small contradiction says much about Beckwourth's fate, a man whose life was caught between history and legend from the very beginning. Still a teenager, he fled St. Louis and joined a band of mountain trappers, soon becoming one of the most successful men in that unforgiving profession. He was of average height, but possessed powerful muscles, a sharp mind, and a courage few mountain men of the early 19th century could match. Around his neck, he always wore a necklace, a pierced musket ball, flanked by two long beads, all strung on a cord of animal sinew, a talisman that, according to his own account, he acquired during the years when he led the Crow, and one that held a near mystical power over his warriors. His name was known from Yellowstone to the Rio Grande, from Santa Fe to Independence, and in the streets of St. Louis. Yet no two accounts ever agreed about the man himself. The historian Francis Parkman, who never met Beckwourth and relied entirely on second-hand reports, dismissed him as a villain of the worst class, a murderer, a swindler, and a man without honor or integrity. But those who actually knew him, Colonel Boone, the Bent family, Kit Carson, Maxwell, painted a very different picture. They regarded him as one of the fairest traders among the native tribes, just as Carson and Boone were remembered as among the few Indian agents who dealt honestly with them. Beckwourth was an unmatched trader. He understood the tribes so well that he always knew what they wanted, and while other traders sat waiting in empty forts for customers who never came, native people sought him out instead. Yet this same man spoke with unusual frankness about the trade in which he himself had prospered. According to his own account, trading whiskey for native property was among the darkest enterprises humanity had ever devised. For every watered-down measure of whiskey, he would receive a buffalo robe worth $5, one that native women had spent weeks tanning by hand. He remarked that it was no wonder the traders grew rich, and even less surprising that the buffalo disappeared one by one. Among the tribes themselves, buffalo robes had become known simply as a pint of whiskey. He also claimed to have founded the settlement that would later become Pueblo, Colorado. According to his own account, in the autumn of 1442, he established a trading post on the upper banks of the Arkansas River. Before long, 15 to 20 free trappers and their families had joined him, and by the following spring, they had built an adobe fort they called Pueblo. History, however, remembers him chiefly for Beckwourth's Pass, a route through the Sierra Nevada that he discovered while searching for an easier road into California, one that countless immigrants would later follow. His autobiography, written years later from his own recollections by another author, was so filled with exaggerations and astonishing adventures that many historians today argue it should be read with the same caution that his contemporaries reserved for Beckwourth himself. Even his death, probably in 1866, among the Crow, remains uncertain. Some accounts say he died of natural causes, others claim he was poisoned. Even in death, legend refused to let him go. And so ends the story of James Beckwourth, a man who blurred the line between history and legend so completely that even those who knew him best could never be certain which version of his life to believe. An escaped slave who rose to lead the Crow, an honest trader in a trade he himself condemned, and a name that still lives on in a mountain pass deep in the Sierra Nevada.